We are recording. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pauline Perot, and along with the NAYEN Learning and Development team, we are committed to bringing you monthly webinars to enhance your Rotary Youth Exchange program. And this month, I have two guests with me, Hannah and Jeremy, and I would love for both of you to introduce yourselves and why we're here today.
Okay, I'll start off. My name is Hannah Douglas. Originally, I went on exchange to Brazil in 2005 with Rotary, and so that's really part of why the Rotary Exchange program is so important to myself. Right now, I'm on the committee with Jeremy, and we're in District 5890, and I'll let you talk a little bit more about why we're here, Jeremy.
Yeah, so my name is Jeremy Dice. I was a outbound student as well, so I'm a Rotex, and I'm a Rotarian. And my passion for Rotary and was from being an exchange student to Germany about 10 years ago, and that is really like wanting me to stay involved. It just really was a life-changing experience, and whatever I can do to help, and so that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Well, I didn't know we had the German connection. That's where I went as well. So
Okay.
I like you already. So I understand that the two of you have been working on the concept of a virtual exchange. So we know worldwide that youth exchange for the 2020-21 year has been, for all I know, I don't really know anyone who's making a go of it right now. And a lot of people have been talking about the concept of virtual exchanges. I've certainly heard short term has been successful in creating a V-step program, but you guys have something else in mind and the platform to support it. So why don't you share with us where you're at and what you have in mind with the idea?
Yeah, so the original idea came from because I work at a university in IT support, so we're always in a product called Microsoft Teams, and that's how we are able to deliver an online solution to all of our students. So then I was like, hey, we can use this platform for our youth exchange to be able to, kind of augment the unfortunate situation where we are now of not being able to, do a youth exchange program. So that's kind of where the idea came about.
Yeah, absolutely. Hannah, what's the importance of making sure that we, including the students and the youth exchange officers, don't sit on the bench, so to speak, this year?
So actually, that's one of our main asking points for everyone. We really just want commitment. Students should have the opportunity to do cultural exchange. It makes such a difference, as we all obviously know, in the lives of students. I mean, not only is it the learning of a new language, but it's just learning a new culture and really having to adapt and just completely change your mindset in general. Mm-hmm. And so after our committee decided that we weren't going to do exchange, we were all in the meeting and everybody was very sad, and we made the final vote and said, no, we're not going to do exchange this coming year. As Jeremy said, we were like, what can we possibly do? So we decided, hey, let's come up with this virtual platform and make it happen. Let's get the world connected in some way, somehow. And so, like I mentioned, we're asking for commitment, and we're asking for lots of trust, obviously. We've been working on the platform for what, Jeremy, maybe 4 weeks now, something of the sort?
It seems like a lot longer than that, but yeah, it's been about a month.
It's been a lot of work.
Yeah.
So that's probably why it seems like a lot longer, but we already have it set up. We're in testing phase, and what we need now, we've obviously had a ton of interest, but we really need people to just kind of say, yes, I'm going to participate, trust us, and we'll go for there, and the platform can just grow naturally, and it'll be really a wonderful thing. I don't know if you know anything about it, but we have the idea to offer different activities like language classes. We want to do maybe typical dance classes. We'd like to have cooking classes where you get to learn just types of foods that might be made in that country, and all sorts of fun activities. And with that, we're hoping to get Rotex and Rotaract to participate as well in teaching those classes. So those are the people we'd like to reach out to. And I kind of think that with this platform, it's going to be a nice way to unite different groups of Rotary and work together. Mm-hmm. Whereas so normally they're quite separate.
Yeah, if you could take us back to the grassroots of the project, what's the exchange element? Is there going to be a student? Are students paired? Are they connected? How is that going to be facilitated, or is it?
Mhm.
Yeah, so it really kind of came up with two main things. So we wanted to do a one-to-one because, you know, like as an exchange student to Germany, like I went to Germany and I was able to make a connection from somebody from across the world, and that was really important to me. But the other aspect of youth exchange that we really wanted to incorporate was so that you can have a group of exchange students all together in the same platform. So that's why any exchange student can connect with anybody else in the platform, not just the one-to-one pair, but that one-to-one pair person is kind of the catalyst to kind of start the talking, start the conversation, and try to allow the students to open up, to start talking to each other, and eventually create the platform the way they want it, and do the events that the event list really could be anything they want to do, and we're just trying to give them the space for them to do that.
Mhm. So how do you envision language lessons working on the platform?
So one great thing about Microsoft Teams is that it's so widely used by so many different countries. Is that it's already set up to be able to use the interface for many different languages, but also inside the chat feature there is an automatic translate button. So if you're, you know, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the work is
Luckily, huh?
done for us, right? So you know, you can just go into the feed and look and just translate an item if you didn't know how to use it. Also for English, what you could do live captions. So if you're doing a conversation, it will use basically artificial intelligence to try to transcript that for you in real time. So it's in English right now, but we're hoping that it comes out more in other languages as well.
Awesome. So what is the students, let's start with them. What would be their commitment, involvement? What do you need from the participants to make this a success?
So we're requiring that the students do at least 3 months. So that's our minimum length of time, and there really is no maximum. Obviously, the exchange is a year, but hopefully we'll be able to continue using the platform should people be interested. In terms of a monetary commitment, per exchange student, it would be $5 a month. And in terms of sponsorship, it can really go either way. It can be the club paying those $5, or it could be the student. It's kind of our view that the club, you know, wouldn't be a giant cost to them, and it would be kind of a neat thing if they would be willing to sponsor them. But each club is able to choose.
And that $5 covers the tech platform investment.
Exactly. So the $5 is not benefiting anyone. It's just so that one can have access to the actual platform. Exactly.
Mhm. And in terms of a time commitment to get the most out of this experience, what would we be aiming for the students once they're in the platform?
So I really, you know, it's up to the student. Um, but it depends on the time change, you know, like if I'm trying to converse with somebody across the world, you know, there is going to be that little bit delay, but I expect anywhere from 3 to 5 hours a week, really, like being on the platform, just chatting, and it's also on a mobile device, so you can easily just, you know, have it on your phone and chat with the exchange student, or you could do just video chats, and then as Anna kind of talked about earlier, as those once a week events where it's maybe an hour. So I wouldn't want, you know, you want it to be as much as like an extracurricular activity at school. You don't want it to be, you know, a giant commitment where it becomes a chore to do. You know, we really want it to be something fun for not only the students but the Rotexes and the Rotarian staff, something to look forward to.
You bet. Hannah?
I was just going to say, and with that, the other great thing about this platform, just as we are recording right now, within the platform, when we do these live classes, we'll be able to record them and store them within the platform. So those that are perhaps on the other side of the world and aren't going to be able to have the same viewing times will be able to come back and actually look at those videos and even watch them multiple times if they would like.
Right. Is the target audience of this students who had a placement through Rotary Youth Exchange that we're going to be leaving in the coming weeks? Is it solely for them, or who did you have in mind?
So that was kind of the the original idea was like, hey, let's have some kind of alternative for the exchange students that, you know, weren't able to go abroad. But then it kind of grew onto that because, you know, we really want to use this as another way to promote youth exchange in the future, not only this year, but, you know, a few years down the road where, you know, it's that it allows that student that is potentially thinking about youth exchange to be able to get into it and then converse with other people so that things like, oh yeah, like I really do want to do this and I do want to make the next step to make a year-long commitment.
Awesome. I know we're going to have a look at the platform in just a moment. I'm curious, in the flow of this conversation, though, if I'm an interested student, what's my next steps? And if I'm an interested YO listening to this, what are my next steps?
So I think that really what we want to do in just like youth exchange, we want the student to go to their local club and have that sponsorship from the club because we do want to still go that route. So the first thing for a student would be for them to go to find their local club. We do have a website that's up and coming where the student can find more information. It's not there yet, but it will be coming. But for the clubs, there is an interest form on the website where they can click on learn more and fill out a small survey, and then we're going to reach out to them and find out what more information we can provide them.
Mm-hmm. And if I'm not on Rotary's radar, I was never chosen by my sponsor club for this summer, what is the vetting process if I'm stumble across this, either from a referral or social media? How would I be vetted?
So we're still kind of working through that a little bit, but we do want at least some kind of interview from the club with the student, and we're putting that pressure on the club, which is because, you know, obviously we can't manage that. So that would be the vetting, and you know, I haven't given a guideline of exactly what it's not going to be as an intensive interview process as it is to go abroad, but it does got to be some kind of screening to make sure the student is committed and that they're the right person for the program.
Yeah. I'm just thinking back to our interview time, and one of the favorite questions I was asked, like, how good are you at budgeting your money, and
Right.
how are you going to manage your Rotary allowance? So I guess those questions are null and void.
Luckily, we don't have to bother with those right now.
Yeah, those tricky ones, but really, really cool. Is there anything else that we've skipped in kind of the foundation before we go into the platform that you think our audience, which is primarily youth exchange officers, need to know about before we look at the software?
I do think it's important to remember that we still are having to do the exchanges within the regulations of Rotary, so only those that have been approved for youth exchange. Currently two-way, and if it's only one way, we need to ask for permission from Rotary International for them to be able to participate on the platform. So just to keep that in mind, if you're not currently
certified.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, allowed to be participating in this program, and it does interest you, maybe it's just an incentive to go ahead and try and get your certification.
Okay. Well, let's look at the software.
Yay.
Let me go ahead and share my screen here.
Sure.
All right, so we kind of have a lot going on here, as you can see, but this is like when you first log into the site. This is what you're gonna see. Then this is kind of the area where anybody can post any information. So it's basically like a wall or a feed of different information. So you can easily just type whatever you want to say. And then as you can see, it goes there. And so everybody will be part of a the everyone group. So our vision is that anybody can connect with anybody here. But for the students, we manually add each student from depending on where their bear is. So for example, if they're a German student, they're going to be in the German country. And if they're exchanged with an American, they're going to be in the American. They can go to any other country they want to. So once you're in the country, really, it's up to the student, and it's kind of a collaboration platform, so you can, you know, easily type in a question about, you know, what's the pandemic looking like in their country, you know, any kind of information that they want to post. That one cool thing is like you could store files. So if you wanted to like have like a bunch of recipes, you could easily create, you know, a folder for recipes, and you can have recipes that anybody could go in. So the sky's the limit about what more you could do with that.
Just selfishly, what's your favorite German recipe?
I love anything that's from the bakery. Like, oh my gosh, like that's one of my favorite things was like walking down to going to school and then making the longer route to the bakery and coming back into class, you know. So that would definitely be my choice, anything in the bakery.
And from Brazil?
Oh, wow, that's really hard. I would probably say there's a dish from the northeastern part of Brazil, and it's sort of like a not spicy curry, if I can describe it that way. It's called moqueca de peixe, and it's fantastic. It's with like palm oil and delicious fish and coconut milk, and amazing.
Sounds great. Awesome. So that's the food culture section, and then we go to the language.
Right. So this is where we're just gonna have a space for learning the language. And you can utilize again. You could, you know, this is where we got a vision where it would be in that language. So and the next bar would really be over on the side is like the chat function. So you could do a one-to-one chat or group chat with anybody. So like if I wanted to have a chat real quick with Anna, I would just go into the chat and say hello to Anna, and you could do a group chat just like you can with any other thing. So you could easily just enter in the different people that you wanted to and create a chat. And so then we get to the calendar. This is pretty obvious, but you know, the idea here is to be able to schedule the different events with different people. So you could create an event. So if we wanted to schedule, you know, a Brazilian dance class, for example, we would go here and we would title the event, which I'm going to do, and then we would go to like the different channel we would want it at, and actually we would probably want under culture, right? And then we would just add the time. Pretty self-explanatory there. That's kind of the quick and dirty rundown of the platform. But there's a lot you can do with it. You know, these are not just defined here. We could easily create more channels that we wanted to, depending on different criteria that come up. So there's a lot of different other things we could do inside here.
And what are the thoughts in terms of monitoring? Are you two going to stay active in the site and watch posts and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so one of the reasons why there is a cost factor to it is that it is inside the Office 365 and Microsoft Cloud, and we are able to log down that. And so I have access to be able to, you know, moderate people to make sure that they're not abusing it, right? So we have that filter from the clubs, but you know, if something were to happen, we could definitely see that in here as well. But the plan is to have Rotexes or Rotarians moderate each channel, so you can actually add a moderator to the channel. If I remember correctly, it's in here somewhere. There is a way to, I forget what it is, but you can moderate the channel so that, you know, the Rotex would just help create that conversation with the students.
Mm-hmm. Just like there was an application for the long-term program with rules and expectations, is that something along the lines of what you were thinking about in terms of like code of conduct or behavior while in the platform?
Yes, that isn't been written out yet, but we do plan to have that written and ready for when we get more students in the platform. Right now we're still in beta. We have a few of our students that we know of, but yes, that needs to happen before we expand this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're actually seeing here is just the actual testing platform, and that's where we want to try and, you know, do our first activities and try out the messaging and everyone logging on and kind of learning how to actually maneuver within the platform. And we are more than willing to give people guest accounts if they're interested, so they can kind of take a look and just figure out if they're really interested. And with that, as we mentioned, we do want moderators, so we're looking for some help. So there's definitely a help factor that we would love to have. And if anyone's
Who would
interested in helping.
Sorry to interrupt, who would be a moderator? Who do you have in mind for that?
Do you want to go ahead, Jim? How about that?
So really, it could be any volunteer that has been vetted through the process, but really we want the Rotexes to be the moderators, just because they kind of can relate most to the students, we believe, just because of that age gap typically between the Rotarians and the students.
Sometimes causes people to not want to maybe A, share as much, or B, participate. So, and we also think that the Rotex will be fantastic advocates for this, and that they'll be interested in being able to share their own culture with the students that weren't able to come to their countries. And we think they'll be really great at just finding volunteers to put on these different activities. And not only that, but they're a lot more technologically capable than some of the rest of us.
Mm-hmm. So where are you right now? I've heard of beta phase. Can you walk us through your timelines to launch?
So we officially put 2 students in today, and I know that it doesn't sound a lot, but it's taken a lot to get where we are. But the goal was to have about a 2-week period, 1 to 2 week period, next week and the week after, to really test out, get at all the games, finish the things like you said, the policies, and get more interest. And then we were really wanting to get started before September 1st, and a lot of that dictates on just how many people are interested.
And how are you planning to garner interest?
Anna can take that one.
That's a great question. In terms of interest, I've been trying to reach out to anyone and everyone that I can possibly find online right now. So I've just been asking people to really share the idea, share the platform, doing my very best to promote it. But again, I would appreciate any help you might be able to give. We're really excited about this, and we think that it could just be a fantastic program to use even in the future, where we're not able to travel or for any other reason.
So would you envision that the chairs, district chairs in North America would be the ones who are the key point person to share this with their former outbound class? Is that the best idea?
I would say definitely the former outbounds in terms of having moderators and help with the activities, and perhaps even help responding to different questions about the platforms. But also just to see if they would like to help us in general with the platform, and they're the ones who can really spread the word to others across the ocean. We've been having a lot more responses from the Americas in general. I've been trying to reach out to Europe and Eastern Europe, and we do have interest. I've had interest in Turkey and Italy. We do have 2 people from Taiwan right now as well, but we would love to include everyone else. We want to have as many countries as possible participate.
I do think this is a really good opportunity for those clubs and those districts where they don't do a exchange with a particular country just because of the contacts and that relationship. So I really think it would be a great opportunity to have that student that, you know, is maybe from a country that you've never had before. So I really think that it really does allow to broaden the base of the different countries that you have inside your youth exchange program.
Yeah, awesome. So contact information, how do we move this forward from this webinar? If people are watching and saying, hey, this is actually really interesting, we'd like to do something, where do they go?
Yeah, so we just launched a website yesterday. And so it's ryevirtual.org, and that's where we're going to have like most of them, or really all of our information front facing for everybody to get to. And right now, if you click learn more, that's going to direct you to a form, and that's going to allow us to really capture that interest and be able to respond accordingly. But I do expect a lot more information up here on the website for them to answer most immediate questions, but that is where I would direct them. And we also have an email address, info@ryevirtual.org, that they can email us, and it'll get to me or Anna.
Okay, so if the shout outs, if I have them correctly, so YOs, if you're listening to this webinar and you're interested, your step would be to email the team here at info@ryevirtual.org and get the conversation flowing. If you were an outbound that was selected to leave in the coming weeks this summer, you would ideally connect through your chairman and have them reach out to get you connected to the program. Is that's, I see you nodding, Jeremy.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And then if there's Rotex alumni, Rotarians, Rotaract who think they could be moderators or lend themselves in some meaningful way to the project, it sounds to me info@ would get them to you as well with
Exactly.
just a clear subject line of looking to help or want to moderate.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Is there, so this is the beta kind of testing mode, is there a launch date in mind for your team of when you'd like to see this populated and going?
September 1st is our window of where we want. Originally, I was thinking the mid-August, between like the 17th and the 1st, but I'm thinking it's going to be more of September 1st.
And as a point of mine, I'm just thinking some of these things through. So $5 US to participate in this. How do you receive the money?
So I'm currently building that with my district to be able to do that. That may not be the best way to do it, and but the plan for one of the website was to be able to do a payment portal of some sort to be able to facilitate the payment. But that hasn't happened yet. But that is something that we're going to be working on very shortly, very soon.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time and sharing what undoubtedly has been a work of passion for both of you in bringing it this far. Are there any final thoughts or requests that you have of our audience who is listening here today?
Really just take the leap, join us, trust us, help us, and I think it'll be a fantastic program, and I really think that it will unite everyone within Rotary and have a really good outcome.
Yeah, I really do think that this is an opportunity for us to really give back to those students that were so looking forward to going abroad this year, and I know that by everything that's happened, and obviously it's out of everybody's control, but I just trying to think how I would have felt having this opportunity not happen. I just, I can't even imagine the loss of that. So, we really just want to, we just need everybody's help really to be able to find this alternative, to be able to really do this for those students.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Hannah and Jeremy, for your time today and sharing this idea and the platform with us. And I look forward to sharing this with our wider North American Youth Exchange Network audience. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.